Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. We're on episode 150. Wow, I love that. Such a milestone. I always love to start by saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel so very blessed with this podcast. My objective when I started was to simplify spirituality and guide people on their journey. And all the messages I get on a weekly basis, I feel so very blessed. So I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you for everyone that's listened. Thank you for everyone that's supported. When I started this, I had no idea where it was going to go. So I feel very, very blessed. And I am excited to have a very special guest on with me today. I would love to introduce Renu. Renu is also connected with the records, and that's clearly what we'll talk about. But before we get into that, I'd love for Renu to introduce herself. Renu, over to you.
Nims, thank you so much for having me here today. It's an honor.
Thank you for being here. I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a spiritual teacher, ascension guide, Akashic record consultant, and energy healer.
Wow, I love that. Love that. So everybody, I'm assuming, knows me, but I'm just a quick intro. I'm also an Akashic reader, Akashic trainer, a podcast host, and a podcast creator, as well as a spiritual coach and mentor. And I love, love, love what I get to do. I really feel like we're being pushed to shine our light. And I get to guide people to truly be their authentic selves and shine their light. So I am excited to be here with Renu. It's always good to connect with someone else who's been guided to the Akashic Records. And so this episode obviously is going to be around the records, and it's all going to be around the beauty around Akashic Records. Akashic Records about a big impact on my life in terms of, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, I was guided to the records by my mentor, guru, friend who left this realm March 2020, who became one of my guides, and she's the one that pushed me to learn how to read Akashic Records. And I learned felt so natural. And actually, while we're recording this, it's 4:44 here in the UK. And she guided me, or she pushed me as a guide to learn how to read the Akashic Records. And I wanted to learn because I wanted to understand my soul contract with her. She left this realm, like I said, aged only 38. I expected to kind of take on the world with her, right? Do spiritual events for her to continue to guide me. So obviously I was surprised, but also I knew that she was where she's meant to be. And then as now she's one of my guides, she's the one that kept saying Akashic Records. So I learned how to read the Akashic Records. But since then, I've read for thousands. This podcast started by the message I received through the records, that my voice is my gift. The mentorship program I channeled through the records. So the records have really, really changed my life. And I feel so blessed when somebody asks me to open the records. So, Renu, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what the records have meant for you and kind of how you were guided to connect with the records.
Gosh, well, your story is so inspiring, and it's wonderful that you were given that gift of that message. So yeah, I concur. The records have honestly changed my life. Prior to reading the Akashic Records to now, I'm a totally, totally different person. And ever since, progressively, I keep becoming a new person, every month or so, just because I've been learning so much. I've been healing so much. I've been clearing so much and getting so much, so much information to help me on my path and to help others. So it's a beautiful marriage of when I go into someone's records, I'm helping them heal and clear and release, but it's also helping me. So it's really, it's a beautiful experience.
I love that. I love that. Can you expand on what the impact the records have had on your life personally in terms of your journey?
Oh gosh, sure. So when I'm going to start, I'm just going to tell a little story if that's okay.
Of course.
I was brought up with the knowledge of reincarnation, right? And past lives. And actually, when I was 12, I was introduced to a game called Past Lives, which was so intriguing to me, the concept of having a past life and then having a board game to literally play and pretend to be
Wow, I've
someone's
never seen
past.
that. I'll have to buy that game. I've never seen that
Yeah.
game. It's crazy.
I don't
At
even
12.
know if it exists anymore, actually, but if you come over to New Jersey, I have it still.
Okay.
So
I'll remember that.
yeah, I've been keeping it very, very, very nicely in a box. So whenever someone, I mean, I used to beg people to play with me when I was younger. My
Oh,
gosh, So, but that introduced me to this world of past lives, but in a more concrete way. So when I was able to do a class for the Akashic Records, it blew my mind to be able to go back into my own library and work on my own soul. And then to now have the honor to work with clients and help them on their journey. It's just completely shifted my perspective, and it's completely helped me heal physical and emotional and mental things that I've had in my own life since my own childhood. So it's just opened my eyes and helped me expand so much.
wow.
Um, yeah.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I talk about the records, I'll always kind of say that I really believe that everybody has the ability at a
Mm-hmm.
soul level to connect with the records.
Mm-hmm.
Just the human kind of needs reminding. So anyone that I don't really believe I train people on the records. I believe I guide the soul. I guide the human toward the soul already knows because it's natural. If you've done a meditation
Mm-hmm.
or channeled message, I believe in some way you've touched the records.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I should have started with what are the Akashic records? For me, the Akashic records are a record of everything our souls have been through: current life, past life, future life, parallel life.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about us is stored in the records. And when you get a reading, for me, I connect to the person's guides and I channel a message. And I always feel that you get what you need rather than what you want. Because
Mm-hmm.
obviously, the human psyche, you can't, everything your soul's been through, the human's not going to be able to take in all of that information. It's just too much. You can
Mm-hmm.
only take a snippet. So, but I'd love to hear from you. What are the Akashic records for you?
Well, you said it so perfectly. Sometimes you are told what you need to know, not what you want to know, right? Or you need to hear versus what you want to hear. And I think that's a huge, important part because sometimes there's something, if I have a client coming in or myself and I'm asking, oh, what about whatever I'm thinking of? And then I get something else totally different. It kind of blows my mind and I'll say, wait a minute, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about, ice cream. And they're like, no, you're going to talk about peas and carrots and you're going to like it,
Yeah.
and because what you need to hear in that moment is coming through. And, for me, one of the biggest, and I love to share this story because this is what I was going to say before. And I, of course, got sidetracked. So sorry about that. But,
Oh, good.
uh, I had physical pain in my body since I was about 14 years old. And it was my shoulders and my neck. And I literally had limited rotation. I couldn't really turn my head to the sides. I just had constant, constant pain. And I thought it was just something I had to, I just really didn't think about it much, to be honest. And it caused me to have poor posture. It caused me to, it's actually one of the reasons why I became a physical therapist because of the pain, to work on posture and things like that and work on healing modalities for it. But no matter how many times I got massages, no matter how many times I worked in the physical, the pain would dissipate for a little bit, a brief period of time, and then it would come back full force. And I mean, so much so I had no sensory awareness of my back unless somebody physically put their hand on my back. And one day I was in the records and I happened to come upon the source of some of that pain, one of the sources. And I cleared and released that, and I had a relief, and it opened up a part of my back, and it completely, it took my breath away because I have never had that moment of relief, and it changed me. I mean, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually in that moment, because I realized, holy cow, this is deeper than just that physical layer. And then I
Yeah.
was able to work on the physical, in the auric fields and any energy blocks that were there. And I mean, I'm so blessed to say that it's almost gone. I mean, I don't know if it'll ever be completely gone, but it's went from 100% to about maybe 10% I have left in my body, and I have full neck range of motion. And,
I love
I
it.
don't, yeah, it's exciting. It's just really, it's the freedom in my body, the liberation
Wow.
that I feel is, yeah, just the physical component, right? Not even going into the depths of the lessons that I learned for that pain.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we said you get what you need, not what you want, and the records give you an insight. This is my perspective. Records give you an insight in terms of what you've been through, what you're going through.
Mm.
But whatever healing you need to go through in this human life, there's no bypassing it, right? So it's not like it's a fix for everything.
No.
It gives you an insight into what's happening in your world. But I know and I can feel when sometimes when people book a reading, they want to be fixed, and there's no fix here, right? You're a soul having a human experience, so you get the insights when you've done the work, and the records
Hmm.
in some way just accelerates that, right? But
Hmm.
it's not a quick fix. I mean, as preparation for this, I thought it was beautiful. We agreed that, wouldn't it be cool for me to open your records and for you to open mine, just to kind of experience and, be nice to talk about it in this episode. And it was beautiful. And, that experience that you talk about with your neck kind of came through in a form. So, and it was interesting because we both read records differently, and there's no right or wrong way, right? It's just however you guided to it. And we can talk about that in a minute, but I'd love for you to share a bit more detail as to, if you don't mind, about
Sure.
what was going on with your neck. And I was kind of delicate. I know we talked about it before, but
Oh, no,
you
it's
know,
okay.
and it may, maybe we should come with a warning. But I mean, I can give you a past life story for me afterwards, but it gives you insights. And
Hmm.
the thing about past lives is whatever you've been through in that life is part of your experience, and
Hmm.
it doesn't mean you always hold on to that karma in this life. And we get so hung up on past lives sometimes, and there's no. Yes, they give you insight to this life, but again, it's just a journey of discovering who you really are. So I'd love for you to talk a bit more about that experience, because I feel
Sure.
that insight will help.
Sure. I mean, I'm the world now knows I have a YouTube channel, so I shared that story.
Okay.
So it's out there in the world. But yes, no, I was a healer slash using, energy and my abilities, and I had a very traumatic death where I was decapitated. And I say that with the most sincerity of it. And whenever I say that, people get really shocked about it. But because of I maybe perhaps misused the energy and the power that I had. And that was something that in this life I was very afraid of. Um, and who knows, right? Back then, whenever that was, the abilities to use different sources of power and just power in general, just different energies was something that people were afraid of. So I had a traumatic death, and that carried over into this life. And it was a lesson that I had to learn. And there were many lessons associated with it, with that pain, with what had happened, the vows and the fears that came up in that moment. And I have learned a lot about being in this life, and having the access to the Akashic Records, and ensuring that I stay grounded, and, I'm in service of the Akashic Lords, and also my clients, and myself, and just helping people heal and go on their journeys and guiding them. Right. And as you said, Nims, it's truth. It's never one and done. God knows, I wish it was, but it's not. It's a journey, and you have to be willing to do the work and to face the things that you need to face in order to really help yourself heal and release and clear and get on that new timeline, or have that spiritual awakening moment. And I find that when someone is ready to have that shift in that perspective, and they need some guidance, and to really pinpoint it, and address some of the things that they want to have healing done and they need someone to guide them, it's a beautiful moment, because then you find that someone can show you the direction and then hold your hand and help you have that power to do the work, right? And to know what work to be done. And, the truth is, no matter how much we go into the records and help people clear, you have to want to do that work. You have to want to see that other side and really, and really know, okay, well, what I was doing is not what I want to do. And I want to go to the other, the other view, the other life. So changing their perspective and starting something anew, it's it's a team effort, right? But they have to be willing to do that work. And with my head, that whole world, I did the work. I had to go in and really look at all the things that I had to heal and address and face. And I find that there's so many people that have the avoidance, right? We have a tendency of wanting to avoid things.
Or fix them.
Right. And sometimes it's just the journey of acknowledging it, which can actually help you to heal it just by noticing it and seeing it. And then that could just be enough. So there's so much in the records. It is such a beautiful, it's so vast and it's so powerful. And
such a blessing, right?
I was just going to say those exact words. It's such a blessing to be able to share that with people.
And look, I mean, I get it from a client's perspective. If you look at this year, we've been going through so much, right? There's been so much happening, and all of us kind of can feel a change coming, and want to know what that is, right? You want to know what's coming next. You want to give me, but I really feel that we're at a place where what our focus needs to be on this moment, because what's coming for us is, what if we saw everything, it'd just blow our minds, and it's just that. So you get insights into who you are in this world. You gain insights into why you've been through certain things, but there's no quick fix. The way I look at it is, I don't think I'm ever going to be fully healed, because that's not the point. The point is I'm a student of life, so it means that if I'm going through something, I should be like, okay, what part of me needs to be healed at this moment? What do I need to release? And maybe become curious, maybe become inquisitive. And if you're going through something deep, you're going through it because in some way your soul's expanding through that experience. And I always say that, pain is inevitable, suffering is option. And I do believe when you connect with the records, you gain insight into why you're going through that pain. And then therefore, maybe you start to process it and start to heal it, so you don't need to keep going. It's like your neck. And, it's just, it just gives you that beautiful insight. And, just to share a story of mine that came up through the records is, I had an experience where I was in love with somebody. We were together, and I discovered, for whatever reason, that she was, for want of a better word, cheating on me, and she was on a boat running away with the guy, or whatever that looks like. And I found out, so I went on the boat. We kind of got into a tangle. And I remember visually being hit with an oar, falling off the boat. And I was still conscious, but I was drowning. And because I'd been hit, there's nothing I could do. Physically, I couldn't do anything. And, so I was drowning in a space of hopelessness, angry, had my heart broken, and I couldn't do anything about it. And I carried some of that energy into this life in terms of some of my relationships of, how I thought they were going to end. And maybe at times I was sabotaging them. And it's just through that insight and going through the records and knowing what the impact they were having to me on this lifetime, it allowed me to go through a process of going back into that life and having a different outcome. There's no amazing fix where I, kind of ended up being with her or whatever, but I could change the narrative of what happened to me in that life, which was powerful. And again, a lot of this does require some work, right? So, when you book a reading, know that you gain insight, but you'll still need to do the work to heal whatever you need to heal through, because we're a soul having a human experience. So why do we want to bypass the human experience? We're not meant to. And sometimes that experience includes pain.
Mm. Yeah.
So we opened each other's records, which for me was a beautiful exercise. And I've done it before. I know that there's so many different ways to connect with the records. There's no right or wrong. It's just for me, the records are everywhere and they're beautiful. I remember when I first started connecting with the records, it made it easier because they're called the records for me to kind of visualize a library.
Mm-hmm.
I even have a podcast episode where it's a meditation where I take people. I think it's like an early episode, episode 7, where I take people to the library, the Akasha, access through past lives.
Mm.
And, when I open the records now, I don't see a library anymore. I see, and really, I see whoever I'm reading with, their guides, and it's like a circle. And I'll even say that in the reading. I'll feel the energy and the vibration. And for me, when I'm in that place, I'm a vessel. I'm just channeling.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't say just. I am channeling a message from whoever's I'm reading guides to the person. I'm not filtering the message. I'm not thinking about the
Mm-hmm.
message. I'm not validating the message. Whatever's coming through is coming through. It's not on me. It's on your guides.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is a beautiful. It's the closest I feel to God, to source, and it's so.
Mm-hmm.
I get goosebumps whenever I talk about it because
Mm-hmm.
I feel so connected, and I channel a message. I don't always remember the message because it's maybe not meant for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just when you open my records, I'd love for you to describe your process and what it feels like for you to open the records.
Sure. For me, and like you said, it's very client dependent. It's very person dependent. When I work with someone for the first time, they do show me a library, a physical structure, and also they show me the outside of the structure, and almost always it's describing that person's personality, what they would like, a location that they would love, that their soul really would love. And then I walk up the stairs or wherever to get to the door. And then I go inside. And then as I'm walking, I'm typically led to this one main room. But depending on what the person has or what they need to contend with or anything, I will see rooms maybe closed as I walk through the foyer, or I'll see past, childhood images, or I just get a lot of information as I'm literally walking through the door. And sometimes they'll be blackened, and it'll be dark. So I know that there's an area that we have to address that's in the shadows, or some things that will come up, or some parts of the house will be missing, because there's something that we need to call back, and then it really is all very individual. And then I go into a room, and then I'll see the Akashic record keepers, and I'll see the hierarchy of whoever is there. And then I'll get to talk with them, and I'll see sometimes if I really, and I always say, if I put on my right glasses, I will really be able to see very specifically, and see the books, and actually see lives. And now, as I talk more about the Akashic Lords and the Akashic Masters and the readers, I actually am now looking at their faces, because they were just flowing gowns for a while. And now I'm trying to really hone in on improving my prescription of my eyes to really get a better look, because for a while there was just so much information, and I really didn't, look at the details, because the client would have something that they wanted to address. And so we would really get into the nitty gritty of it. But they wanted me to show the person the library to really help them, cross that line of this very vast, incredible world, but also to bring it down to help us perceive it and understand it in a way that won't blow our minds up so much, right? So, and I love looking at the library, because sometimes, I was mentioning before, prior to us recording, sometimes my entrance to the Akashic library can be really unique as well. I once someone's records I had to get on a zip line to get to the actual location. And I
Love it.
remember asking the Akashic record keepers, is this right? And they said, yeah, you have to put your hands on that and you have to get down. So that was just so unique to me. And I had, another one I had to walk through a valley to get to it. So it's always been very unique and different for every person. And that's somehow related to their journey that they've had in this moment in time. So it's so like
Love it.
when you were reading my records, it was such a different process, but it was so cool because there is no right or wrong. There's just all these different ways. And once you hit that vibration and you are able to feel that vibration, it's just,
Yeah, it's magical, right?
it's a blessing. It's just so, so wonderful.
Yeah, no, I love that, and it's just it is interesting. I've never had to go down a zip line to access someone's records. I love that. I think it's beautiful. But I do know it's like I'll always get asked, what can I expect, and it's really hard to say because
Mm-hmm.
it's led by your guides, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are some consistencies. There's normally some past lives that may come up. I'll always like to connect who I'm reading for to their guides. There's always elements that are similar, but majority of it is whatever your guides want, right? And it's just I know that what I see, what I hear, what I feel is dependent on who I'm reading for.
Mm.
So some people are more visual, and I'll tend to see more for those.
Mm.
Some people, are just connected more to what they hear. So it's really interesting for me when I open someone's records and there's not always consistency. Sometimes I'll see, sometimes I feel, sometimes I'll hear, and it's just there's no right or wrong. There's just a way to connect with the records, and it's just so beautiful. And I again, what made me think when you opened my records is there was some questions you asked me in advance, and I was like, because I don't do that. I just I trust whatever comes through. I'll let your guides kind of manage whatever that is, and I just trust whatever's meant to come through. But you did make me think when, as part of your process, you asked me some questions in advance. I'm like, because I do know that. Let's say with the day I'm opening your records, even though there's a prayer when we're on the call together and your records are open, official, and all that, I can already feel your records even before that whole process has begun.
Mm-hmm.
There's like so I already kind of can start feeling the energy of your guides, and it's just it's really interesting. But we have to go through the prayer, and kind of allows you deeper access, I guess, from my perspective. But it's not a black and a white process, I guess. It's so
No.
unique. Every experience is, and I for me, it's a complete blessing because I can feel so much love from everybody's guides. It's such a
Right.
beautiful. I'll always ask them to start form a circle around us, and it's just like, and it's like when I do a group reading, I do a monthly group reading for a podcast, and I feel everybody's guides and the love, and it's just like an overwhelming element of love, and there's so much love out there, and
Mm-hmm.
I also want anyone I read for, I want them to feel the love that's around them
Mm-hmm.
because it's so beautiful, and just with everything that's happening on the planet, you know, for you to feel that love that's around you, I really believe will help a lot of people.
And the support. There's
Yeah.
this constant love, unconditional love and support that is for each individual person. That is not for, because we read the records, that's something we were trained in and we learned, but anyone can communicate to the divine and their angels and their spirit guides by stilling their mind and calming and working on that vagal nerve, their central nervous system, and working on calming their bodies. And you can communicate with your angels, and that might not be the Akashic Lords or the Akasha per se, but you can communicate and feel that love. And that's so powerful because that's why we're here. As you say, it's true. We are divine in physical form. We have come down. These physical bodies are our vehicles that, we have to take care of because we want to, experience this as much as possible, as best as we can. And have this experience in this free will realm that is nowhere else like this in the world, in the universe. And so it's so exciting. And there's so much here on the earth that we can feel and experience and learn and grow. Because when we go back home to where our souls are from, it's just, it's a nice, we get to look back at the life that we had on earth and choose if we're going to come back or not. And there's just so much here to live for. And it's hard. I mean, it can be hard because there are things that we have to contend with that our souls chose to come down and talk about, to say, okay, we're going to work on this issue and we're going to work
Yeah.
on this and we're going to have a soul contract with this person. And you have to have these ups and downs, these ebbs and flows. So, um,
Yeah, it
yeah,
is
but
interesting, right? Hmm.
yeah, we are loved.
What
So
else?
I
Yeah,
love that.
what our souls chose, right? And you know, I mean,
Mhm.
that's a whole different episode, I guess. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess that's true.
it's it's acceptance that it's hard, because if you've chosen a particularly challenging life as a soul, it's difficult to kind of accept. But hold on, you saying I chose this life?
Yeah, I
Are
know.
you saying I chose this to go through this pain? And people look at you as if you're on drugs. It's like, what? Are you for real? And it's hard, but your soul did chose. Again, it's our perspective, right? My perspective, that your soul chose to be here. Your soul chose to go through whatever you're going through, and it is expanding you. You are going through for a reason, and it's hard. It's because if you're going through something, you're thinking, "There's no way I would pick this. There's just no way." But you know, again, if you take a moment and just look back through
Mm,
your most challenging moments and really ask and challenge yourself, well, how much did you grow through those moments? It helps you to understand that you are growing. But
mhm.
when you're in it, it's hard to see the wood for the trees, right? You're like, well,
Yeah.
you're kidding me. But and that's what, again, I said at the beginning, you know, pain is inevitable. So we're meant to go through pain, but sometimes we get stuck. We get stuck in that pain,
Mhm.
and that's where it becomes suffering. And that's for
Mm,
me where the Akashic Records come in, to give me the insight and to help me to understand my journey. I've had
mm.
lots of conversations with my soul, and like, what were you? Why did we agree to this? What was going on? You know, what was, you know, and you know, I've had some conversations with God, source, or whatever you look, and you know that line that, you know, I think Robbie Williams sings. I tell God my plans, and He laughs. I think that's happened to me a few times, and it just, you've got to, and I get it. Sometimes it's hard, but you've got to realize that we're on this journey, and it's part of our growth. It's part of what we're here to
Mhm.
do,
You know,
and
I've had so many conversations with people in the last so many years, and a lot of them talking about these hard moments in their lives, uh, tough moments in their jobs or health, or, you know, they've had these spiritual awakening moments, and they all say the same thing, despite how hard of a situation that they went through and how deep in it that they were. They're so grateful for those moments of hardship, because they wouldn't be where they are today without those moments,
yeah,
to help them to see, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this anymore. Oh my gosh, I really need to shift and change. And that shift in their perspective, that moment of that awakening, but more so that they look back to say, like you said, it's so hard in the moment when you're in it,
that's the
you know, and
key.
you're
It's hard when you're there, right?
right. But when you work with it and through it and you do that work, they look back and they say, I would never change it for our world, for the world. I mean, it's extremely, it's a powerful thing to hear when someone's saying, gosh, I experienced something like, for example, you know, cancer, which is such a hard diagnosis and a tough condition to have. But then to say, I'm so grateful that I experienced that, because here I am in a different place, et cetera, et cetera. It just shifted them. It changed them. They changed, made many lifestyle changes and perspective changes. And it brought them to a new, and one person even said to me, it was a rebirth, you know, and it's true. And I keep hearing that from people that have lost family members or had health issues or a job change or something. It's a rebirth, which is that spiritual awakening moment. It's just so exciting. I know it doesn't seem exciting when you're, you know, you can't see it in the moment, but they are showing me that excitement to say, oh my gosh, Renu, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be here and having this new expanded vision
Yeah.
and feelings about life.
And that's the beauty. It's like when afterwards you can see it, and it just look, if this podcast episode helps one person understand that, look, whatever you're going through, you will get through it. And whatever you're going through, when you're ready to, you'll get insights as to why and how much you've expanded. And if that helps one person to know that this too shall pass, then that's great. Because, if we can somehow stop ourselves and change our question to ask, well, hold on, how is this serving me?
Right.
Maybe we'll get insights into why we're going through. Because for me, the first step is always awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awareness of what you're going through and how it's expanding you. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's acceptance, because as soon as you become aware, you start to get annoyed at yourself. Well, hold on, why didn't I realize it sooner? I wish. No, you have to accept you are where you are, exactly where you're meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then the answer is love, right? And it's just,
Mm.
but if we can kind of change the model a little bit and not have that insight afterwards and try and have the insight during,
Right. Yeah.
maybe life starts to become simple. I'd
Yeah.
love for you to talk about some of your experience with clients. I'm obviously not going to share names and too much details for
Mm-mm.
obvious reasons, but
Sure.
anything you can share in terms of what your clients have been through that have kind of just opened your eyes and, given you that knowingness that you're doing exactly what you're meant to do.
My favorite part about when I work with my clients is, I love working with them, and when we finally get to the root cause of something that's really they've been struggling with, or that we did not realize, or we meaning them, not realize what was at the forefront of something, of whatever energetic block that they're having, this feeling of stuckness in a relationship or in a job or in something about themselves. A lot of my clients I've seen over the years, we talk about a lot of self-love and self-worth. That's a really big one, because we have to love ourselves. And that was a big issue that I had to go through. It was a big lesson for me in my life, but it's a very recurring, constant theme. I think a lot of us have those moments, those disparaging moments about ourselves, and we're able to just tick all those negative things, and say A, B, C, D, et cetera. But that's a big, big lesson that a lot of my clients are working through, with self-love. But my favorite part is that when we kind of find the root and we work through it and we do the work, and then they feel better. That's just so exciting, because they look different. They physically look different. They present differently. I've had clients where they might choose to wear one particular color, right? A darker shade. And then eventually it changes they go through all this healing and this growth and these shifts in perspectives and these awakenings. And then all of a sudden they're wearing lighter colors and they're happy and they've got this jovial look on their face and in their eyes. And that's my favorite part, is seeing them grow.
Yeah, it's so
And
beautiful.
it is. And it just touches my heart so deeply, because I know it's not easy to face those things that you have to face. But when you do and you see what benefit it is for you, it's just mind blowing. So,
Yeah,
that's a little vague, but yeah, it's so exciting. I know. I could
yeah,
talk
I
about
love
this
it.
for hours.
I know, I
How
love it.
long
I
is your
love
show?
exactly how long you want it to be. But it's what we get to do is a blessing, and I remind
Yeah.
myself of that every single day, that I am blessed to get to do
Yeah.
what it's just, I chose to guide people, right? And for me, the records and opening someone's records are beautiful. I give people insight, and it's like somebody can get a reading today, and a month's time it can be so different, because you talked about rebirths. I really believe that a lot of us are going through a rebirth right now,
Oh, sure. Hmm.
energetically, and it's just, what does a
Hmm.
rebirth look like? It's the facets of you are just being released, and you are going through, you are being reborn, and it's just, there's the things that used to excite you don't excite you anymore, and there's a difference, and it's beautiful to be able to guide people through the rebirths, to help them to get to know the new version of themselves is so beautiful. And, for me, the records combined with mentoring, helping people to release their programming to become truly authentically themselves
Right.
is what I love to do. It's like when you see the moments in their eyes when they're kind of like, okay, that's why I've been doing that all my. Okay, you mean I have a choice? I don't need to do that all the time. And wait, I'm this way because of I'm mirroring what my parents did or doing the opposite of it. Hold on, you mean
Right.
I can choose to be different? And it's like it's so empowering. It's so beautiful, and just there's a blessing to it. So I love it, and it's like, even when I think about my reading compared to yours. I mean, mine, I would say, you gave me insights into my human journey
Mm.
that I thought I'd dealt with, and it was kind of I do so much work on the spiritual side of my soul and all that sort of stuff. It was a little surprising for the human stuff to come up, to be fair. But it was exactly what I needed. So it was just like,
Mhm.
well, hold on, sure. I mean, there's a part of me that kind of felt, well, I've gone so deep on some of the things that you talked about that surely I must have dealt with it. I
Yeah.
mean, there's an ego
Yeah.
part, but there was also another part realizing that the stuff that I don't believe in repeat cycles. I believe that when the same thing comes up again, it's just a different level of a layer of healing that needs to be
Sure.
released. And
Sure.
that's how I took it. It's like, well, okay, you know what? I need to work on that human side of, whatever it was. Right. And I got exactly what I needed when I needed it. And,
Yeah.
you gave
And
me a
it's
prayer to use for 33 days and I'm doing it. I'm a
good.
student
Good.
too, right? I'm a student too, right? And, we're all
Sure.
students. And that's the thing. Healers need healing too. We need guidance too. And, that's the beauty of the records for me is, we, as you say, we all receive messages. I really believe we're all receiving more messages now from our guides than ever before. But sometimes you need that deeper insight. You need that deeper message because your ego gets in the way, right? Let's be honest. It's like,
Yeah. The
and,
mind.
and
Hmm.
when you give a reader permission to open your records, what you're doing is giving them permission to go deep on your energy, your guides, your soul, and to
Right.
channel the message that you need to hear. And sometimes as humans, we want the message to be pretty and simple. And maybe don't always want to do the hard work, but sometimes we need that tough message. Sometimes we need that kick up the backside, and it's always perfectly timed. So thank you.
Well, I want to express my gratitude to you because when we talked about that, that the
No, not everyone. Not everyone. Some people are listening. So yeah,
well,
what
the
you mean? The
unfortunate
story
part
that
about
keeps.
me.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so the part about me getting my head cut off, um, reminding me again that there was more to it than that, and uh, it was a really. I don't know why I'm going to say this, but it was like a Game of Thrones moment where I was like, "What? I got my head cut off, and I was burned." Like it was. It was. Yes, I know it's crazy,
And just
but
give people a
uh,
warning.
I know, I know. I mean, it was an episode of Game of Thrones in my life. No, but it was a wonderful experience to have someone else read my records. It's been a really long time, and um, I really appreciated the insights that I was given because for me, uh, I as well as with you, I work a lot on that deeper level and work on that healing. And it was nice to get the messages of being present and enjoying and the levity of life and how I am my left side of my brain is always working so hard to just
Yeah.
give it a nice hug and say how much I love it and then to just put it on the side to say you've done a lot of work and just be present and reminding me of that because sometimes we just want to understand and that's the other thing that's really it's a journey and a process to remember that sometimes we may not understand fully everything of why, right? Well, why did this happen to me? What happened? Blah, blah, blah.
Maybe you're
And it's
not meant to.
about,
Maybe you're not
right,
supposed
right. And it's that, you know, taking that why out and just accepting it. Like you were saying, it's awareness, it's acceptance, and then being with it.
to.
And,
Yeah.
and that's it. And so it was really exciting to have that perspective and to have someone be able to, bring me back into the record. So that was really cool as well. Um, and I think overall, just the journey of our souls, and I also believe that everything is divine. Everything is happening exactly the way it's supposed to happen in the right moment, right?
Yeah,
So
I
that was
agree.
a
We are
choice that we
exactly
made.
where we're meant to be.
Right,
Nothing is
right.
missing.
So yeah,
And just just before, so look, when a past life comes up, and for Renu as an example,
yeah,
that past life and what came up, yes, it was about being burnt and all the rest of it, but it was actually more the impact that life is happening in this life. And
right.
sometimes we need to be shown the extremes to
Hmm.
understand what we're carrying into this life. So I've seen so many people make it about the past life. It's not. It's
Mm-mm.
about what you experience and what you bring into this life. So when you get access to a past life, sometimes it's just to release the karma from that life, and
Right.
sometimes it's for insights. And we get hung up on, what do you mean that happened to me? Oh my God, what?
Totally.
No, it's not about, because that was your journey in that life. That's what you meant to experience in that life, right?
Right.
That's what your soul had signed up for. So, but sometimes we carry that energy into this life, and it's that insight. It's more the insight that comes with it rather than the experience. And it's really important not to get hung up on the experience. I guess I just felt like I need to
No,
give further insights into that.
I appreciate that because a lot of the time, if I'm shown something, I'll ask, can the person, the client, am I able to share this, what I'm seeing, or just tell them the lesson? And then some people can really handle it because they won't let their mind take over with the story of what happened. And some people can't and that's okay. Because they will hold on to the story, not the lesson, and then it just defeats the purpose of the work. So
Yeah,
sometimes I'll be able to share the story and sometimes I won't, the vision of what happened. And the truth is that all of us souls have had good lives. We've been
100%.
good people, bad people. We've been on all the sides. So there's no
And who
judgment of it.
decides? Yeah, who decides what's good or bad? It just
Right. It's just what
That's
it
what we're
is.
meant to
Right.
experience in that life, right? And
Exactly. Exactly.
uh,
So, yeah.
beautiful. I mean,
So,
I could talk about the records and the soul journey for hours, but yeah, I'm guessing our listeners don't have hours to spend. Well, maybe they do, but we can do a follow up episode for sure. Um, but as we're closing out the episode, I'd love for you to share any final bits of insight, but also to maybe have a couple of journal prompts for our listeners to go deeper on their journey. What comes to mind for you?
I love journals and I love journaling. And I find that, when you still your mind and you ask and you take your pen to paper, because I think journaling is so important with the actual pen and paper. If you can find a pen and paper, let's be real, um, in this day and age. But I think it's really powerful to do that and allow your pen to flow and to ask, if you have a situation in your life or something that you're not really um, happy about, or you're finding that you want to shift and you want to change, to take your pen to the paper and to just say, angels, spirit guides, universe, God, whoever and whatever you want to call it, whatever works for you. What is it that I can do? Or please give me some answers or some lessons, or what is it that I need to address at this time? And allow your pen to flow and you will get messages. And I know that sounds crazy. And, you can just start writing what you feel and what you hear and what you think. And then eventually your pen will start to go and flow and you'll be getting messages through that. And I think that's really important to just, if you're on that path of that spiritual awakening moment of saying, there's something in my life that I want to shift, that I want to change, to ask. That's really important. You can ask for help from the universe, from the angels, from the guides. And then also, if anybody is on that spiritual awakening journey and wants some tips and tools, I have a spiritual awakening kit that's free that they can download and use. And I personally do everything on the kit every day. That's my morning routine. But it's just something to help them on their path.
I love it. And I guess any more insights in terms of what you do? And you mentioned your kit, and I'd include that in the
Mhm.
show notes so people can get the kit. But any more, in terms of what you've got coming, anything that you want to share in terms of how people can reach out to you and or work with you?
Sure. I have a YouTube channel, which I'm very excited about. It's brand new, but I'm very proud of it. And they can reach out to me through there. They can reach me through the Spiritual Awakening Kit, and my website's coming up soon, spiritualawakeningtoheal.com. That's going to be out soon. So many ways to find me. I'm on Facebook. So I love communication. I love emails. I love messages, everything. So any way that they can find me, that would be wonderful.
Beautiful. I'll include all of that in the show notes. So please do reach out to Renu. She has a beautiful soul.
Oh, thank
And
you. Same to you.
yeah, if anyone wants to book a reading with me, I'll include my website and all Insta and all Instagram and DM me, etc. I also do Akashic training. So if there's something in this message and when you feel Akashic records, you feel a connection, maybe you're meant to learn how to connect with the records. I love connecting people to the records. I love guiding people because it just opens you up to a whole new modality and just a different level of magic. So if any of that appeals, please do reach out. I love this podcast. I feel blessed with the conversations I get to have. And so I'm sending so much love and light out to everybody. Whatever you're going through, know that you're going to get through it and know that you're here for a reason. You chose to be here. I released this episode on July the 1st. I also released an episode, it's probably going to be in the 2nd, which is a monthly message which I channel through the Akashic Records. So if you want a deeper experience around the records, listen to that episode too. I'll open the Akashic Records and I'll channel a message for the collective. So please do take a listen, and I'd love any feedback. And I'd love to hand over to Renu to close us out. Thank you for being here, sending you so much love and light. And Renu, I'm going to ask you to close us out.
Oh gosh, well, it was such an honor. It was a wonderful, wonderful conversation. And to all of you out there, as Nim said, it's a beautiful journey being here on this earth. And as long as you can be present and enjoy the highs and the lows and just be here, that's just the ride. So enjoy it while we have it, right? So thank you so much again.
Thank you. Sending everyone so much love and light, and bye for now.